Alright, I think we're going to get started. Oops, camera's a bit off and wiggly wobbly. There we go. It's a very humid night tonight, but I'm hoping my aircon will help cool the room down a little bit at least. Starting a bit late today, mainly because, or at least later than planned, just because my wife and daughter decided to go out to the onsen, the bathhouse, and didn't come back until just gone 10. And so my daughter was asleep, so I had to just carry her up. And I knew if I started the stream at 9:30, I was going to get a phone call in the middle of me just starting a stream. So I had to hold off until 10:15 my time. All right, let's jump in then. Let's see how we're going here. All right. Right, we're going to be continuing on with some of our JSA, and we're getting to the fun bit now. Because what we get to do is we get to do all of the Nmm Gold, which is just, I find, very, very relaxing and pretty chilled thing to paint. So we're going to take some of this. I've already gone over with a yellow and a mix of this, what is it, kind of golden brown, mixed with the leather brown, and already put in the first layer of highlight, and now we're just going to put in the next one and just kind of mark in where we feel, just where we feel that gold is going to shine. So we just catch those areas there. I'm just going to go around and do that on all of these sections that I've marked out brown. And then they should be looking good. Today I am painting some Infinity JSA Keisotsu. So these guys are like the line infantry for the Japanese secessionist army in Infinity. So I'm just going to try and get through some of these guys because they've kind of been sitting on my desk for a little while now. And being back at work and trying to catch up with a lot of work, that's kind of kept me a bit busy these last few days. Very good to see you, Joseph. Thank you for joining us. And so what I've got with these guys is I've gone over and I've kind of filled in all of the black of the armor that they've got. I'm now kind of going over these areas that I've painted brown and making this look a little bit like gold. So we're just going to catch kind of slightly random, slightly chosen spots to get the shine. Yeah, the heavy infantry are cool. I painted up some Domaru. They were fun. I'm really looking forward to painting up the Tankos. They're in my box at the moment, ready to be painted. So I'm going to look forward to doing those. And a long time ago, I really enjoyed painting the Domaru, which is actually on my my kind of like logo screen, my main screen there. I was quite proud of how he came out. I remember being very, very nervous about him coming out, painting that character, because he was pretty scary to do so. I just realized it's really hard to read the writing on on my messages on the screen there. Maybe I can like stick something over let's see, over here, like just there you go, you can kind of see the message is a bit clearer if I just stick that there. I'm just kind of gonna just have to do it for now. Marks where my chat box is so I don't cover it up. I have to fix that by changing up my chat box and how that works, but I won't do that now. There's no point right now, but we'll figure it out later. Right, yeah, so I'm just kind of going over all of these brown areas, and we're going to just knock it up a little bit. So we go up to the next point, which is a mixture of the golden brown with a touch of ivory that I've got here. Mix that all in, get it a little bit lighter. And then we're just going to, again, just make that next layer a little bit less than the previous layer. So hopefully we get a bit of a transition building. With NMM, it's actually quite good to have a sudden contrast. It kind of enhances the sense of a shine, I find. And not being too specific with places as well. Oftentimes the shines off of metals and things are not always as, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, kind of obvious place. Is that like not the most obvious places all the time? Because it just depends how light falls and reflects and things. So having slightly larger reflections and slightly smaller reflections in slightly different places actually kind of sells the image more than if you're too exact all the time. I don't know what, I'm kind of losing my words there. It's been a long day. I've been doing lots of presentations at work. Just blah, blah. I've had enough of speaking to some extent. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's a nice quick job with that one there. Oh, I need to go up all the way to ivory as well, with just maybe a touch of that gold brown still in there, just to give it a little bit of that slightly yellow tinge, but really it is just a touch. And this one, we're just going to go very gently and just get those extremities. And hopefully as well, they will be a little bit transparent, but we'll keep some of that gold coming through there. And then hopefully we're just selling that gold effect. Oh, did a bit too much on that one. But yeah, it kind of shows the effect that we're looking for here. There we go. And just a touch on the toesies. And we've got that there. Alright, that basically does the effect. I'm not going to go too heavy into, what's the word? I'm not going to go too heavy into blending every single stroke in there. I don't think it really needs it. They're very small areas, and when you're looking at it, it kind of sells the effect. I'm not looking for perfection, but I'm looking for the look of the image of gold. So mix in, we get this slightly brown, just a lighter brown basically. And we're just, again, we're going to just, what's the word I'm looking for? We're going to be sketching in where we think the reflections are going to be. Again, I'm not going to be too exact. I'm just going to pop them in where I can. There we go. We'll just pop in again more of those, just highlighting where we can. And again, we're just sketching in some rough reflections, and then it should hopefully look pretty good. Again, it doesn't have to be exact. You just get some rough. Reference. And if it doesn't look good, we can just go over it again. It's not a big deal. It's pretty easy to fix. Okay. There we go. Get those feet done, and then we can have a go at the gauntlet on his hand there. This room is not getting any cooler. I am sweating my tits off right now. There we go. Okay, let's do that gauntlet. Go fairly wide with this initial part of the reflection, so we've got a lot to play with there. And then I think we'll just hook it round on the bottom of this one here, so we just have another kind of reflection across there, going down the length of the gauntlet. Okay, now we're going up to the next level where we go to the gold brown. There's the pure gold brown. So when we start seeing the more starker difference in the color, that kind of gives you sudden contrast, which is really, really important for that NMM effect. When you start to see, it's actually creating the effect I'm looking for. Just find all those spots and you just place them in there. There we go. Get some more of that. It's kind of fun because this is like such a quick thing you can do, and it really kind of helps the character pop just by doing this simple little technique for NMM. It's not a complex one that we're going with. It's a very simple, very straightforward scheme. So that's the one area that I can actually kind of do this a little bit quickly and be fairly confident it's going to come out how I want it. Okay, I think I've got all of those areas with the gold brown. So now we're going to step up to the lighter shade where we mixed in some ivory. To be honest, steel and silver NMM is, I find, so much harder. Gold is I find it's the easiest one. Just because you're playing with more color. Whenever you have to do like monochromatic painting, I find it a lot harder to kind of get, I guess, not the contrasts that I need, but I just can't seem to get the values quite right or the placement quite right. But gold, I find, is the easier one. With gold, I start off with a dark brown. Then I kind of have a gold brown that I build up to. And then from the gold brown, I go up to ivory. And that's kind of my technique for NMM Gold, my general one. If I just wanted this slightly kind of burnished gold, I guess. It's not like a really super clean, beautiful, shiny gold. It's more of a, yeah, kind of like a burnished kind of gold that you can make. But yeah, I do recommend having a go at it. It's really fun. I like playing around with the NMM Gold. And with this color scheme, I think it works quite well because you kind of got the contrast of the black armor with the brightness of the gold. It works for me anyway. Thank you. I do. This is, yeah, I really have fun placing this. Doing this one. I find it very relaxing. Unless when I'm doing what is it? Like steel. I find it much more stressful to try and get that looking right. Quite like doing the kind of like that really super blue type of steel. That I find I kind of enjoy painting that. Don't always get it quite right, but I find that one much easier. But just regular steel is hard. If I'm just using black and white, so I want some sort of color in there, I guess, just to I know. I just find it hard when I'm just working with pure monochromes. And mind you, this armor is basically pure monochromes, and it kind of works for me. Right, so now we're gonna go with the almost pure ivory, just with a touch of the golden brown in there. Just to catch that one last bit of the light. There we go. What have you been working on these days, Joseph? What minis are you painting? Going into that concentration mode of trying to just highlight it hopefully correctly. Yeeks. Bit of a miss there, but not too bad. You know, I'm not really placing particularly carefully. I'm just kind of slapping it into the edges and hoping for the best, and it tends to come out okay. Okay, that's him done. That's 3 of them done that I've done today, and then Started off with the what's it called? The Kempe Tai, who is still way too pale. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna raise that one up to a more living tone of skin tone. Thank you very much, Unknown Girl. I'm glad you like it. I don't know, actually, with the small details, it's not too bad. It's just a case of practice, really. I've been, like, my first ever models were awful. And then the more I just did it, the better I got at being able to pick out the details. It often comes down to like the quality of the sculpt. Luckily, these guys have such fine details in them that it's actually quite easy to pick them out and get them. The thing that really gets me is the eyes sometimes. I did okay with this girl's, is it her right eye? The left eye, I think I've recovered again with the painting, but I was really happy with the skin tones on this one. She came out pretty well. Although I got this, she's got a floaty hand as I got a gap between there. I really should have put some putty in there to cover that up. It's me being lazy, I think. So, oh well. I may in the future go back and just fix that. But right now I just want to paint. I don't want to be messing around with stuff. The first ones I've done, I can show you like a more recent improvement to kind of show where I feel I've improved recently, because with a lot of like mini painting and things, it's kind of like some people do it just to kind of get their army out. So they'll get a technique down and they'll do it really well and they'll just bang out loads of models. I tend to get a little bit bored with that, so I'll do a technique until I feel confident in that technique, and then I maybe try something else or try and learn something about color, or do a bit more color theory to figure out a better schemes and things like that. But an example of like one that I was pretty proud with its finished paint job when I painted it. But then I got the kind of the alternative sculpt of the same model and I painted it and tried some slightly different techniques, and I was really, really happy with the updated version. So the one I'm going to kind of show there is okay, I don't know if this one's easy to see or not. Let me just pull this one. Here we go. Here we've got this mentor. These are the ones which are just at hand, and I've kind of stuck these on a few of my streams at the moment. But this one here, I was pretty happy with. I was kind of happy with how his cloak turned out, how I kind of got some of the smoother blends with his kind of bone armor and things like that. I was pretty happy. That was pretty good. But since doing that model, and I guess that's about half a year, maybe almost a year maybe since painting that model, I can't remember. I got the alternative version of that model, and I don't know if it's easy to see or not, but with it, what I've got is like greater contrasts, much deeper shadows, much lighter highlights, and it just makes the model pop a lot more. The colors I'm using are a lot brighter as well. You kind of got that blue on the back there. I tried a little bit of freehand at the bottom of his cape, but I'm really bad at freehand. Something I would like to improve at. But yeah, just trying to, and also kind of like try and improve finer blends and things like that. This one's just coming out a little bit better, to be honest. That for me is like an important improvement that I've been able to actually see, which is kind of good. I don't know if I can find a model that I did ages ago, but yeah, yeah, I don't have one that I have from ages ago. I don't think so. Hold on. Oh no, this is kind of my box of new stuff mostly. Oh, but mind you, I can kind of show you my first Shazvasti model that I did. And then that one's got a very, very big difference. in it. So this was like my first test model that I did for the Shasvasti. And again, like this is the latest model that I've done for my Shasvasti. And you can just kind of see just how much more detail I'm adding into the minis to what I did with that initial one there. And so, yeah, that's kind of nice to compare those moments to see how things have improved. So I think that's enough of me waxing poetic about the models I'm painting. Actually, just before I say that, this one's probably the one I was most proud of with getting like when I had that breakthrough moment of doing like the Nmm Gold and getting the black armor to look like it's shining. So everything that is painted here is painted matte. There's no metallics in there or anything. I think I'd probably put on a little bit of a satin varnish just to give it a little bit of a shine, a natural shine on it, just to go give it a bit of oomph. But this one, like all of those reflections and things you see on there, that's painted on reflection. That was really fun to paint as well. So yeah, it's just a case of you do it again, do it again, do it again. Kind of like one of the advantages of kind of having an army where it has the same paint scheme. As long as you're trying to look to improve that paint scheme, you get good at doing a certain paint scheme and then you look for those new techniques to improve upon it. So one of my rules at the moment is I try to avoid shades. A lot of people throw on a shade or a wash to just put into basically all the recesses, and then that kind of gives depth to the model. It's a perfectly valid way of painting and it's very, very good, but you can rely on it too much to make everything look great without what's the word I'm looking for? You can rely on it too much as a crutch eventually. So I try to just stick with layering. So I start off dark and I raise up to lighter colors and try to keep the values and volumes in there. And the advantage of doing that over shading is shading kind of gives you kind of it gives you depth to the model. However, it reduces the kind of the color value of everything down. It brings everything a tone down as well. Whereas if you're just pure layering, you're keeping the depth right from the very, very beginning, and then you are building up the layers of lighter and lighter colors or high contrast colors. And not only that, with shading, you're knocking everything into a certain color range or a certain color. With layering, what you can do is that you could shade in a different color basically at the beginning, and then you could layer up into a completely different color, and you create a much more vibrant kind of effect. Anyway, that's my rant for that. But yeah, anywho, I'm gonna just continue with a little bit of my NMM. So for that, I'm gonna get my dark brown, mix it in with my golden brown to get the first layer that I'm going to be basically building up, which will just go on these little armor points here as I sketch out where I think or where I feel the reflections will be. And that's all I do, is I kind of just feel it out. I don't really know exactly where the reflections are going to be, but I just assume there's going to be light coming from a higher source, and then causing some reflections off of these things. Some of these will be a little bit random, some will be thought out, but otherwise, if I think too much on it, it becomes too much of a formulaic position, and then the NMM doesn't look quite right. It looks too correct, too perfect in its placement. Whereas to kind of get a more realistic look, you actually have it in more kind of slightly random places and slightly different sizes. And it kind of sells the effect sometimes a little bit better. But yeah, we're just going to throw that down. That's the initial sketch that we place. Oh, thank you very much. I hope it was very informative. This is kind of like my one format to be able to talk about this hobby a lot, because my wife has no interest in what I do with the models and things. which is fine, And then like at work sometimes if I kind of like get excited and then mention it to some people, I can see the glaze over look because they have absolutely no interest in the hobby. So at least here I know if anyone's watching, they've got at least a cursory interest in in this hobby at least, and usually more than just a cursory interest. So um, it makes it much easier to be able to talk about it and gives me a place to be able to have that kind of conversation without feeling like I'm causing people to just glaze over completely. And even if no one's on here, I can just talk to myself about it and just imagine someone's there. Um, but yeah, so I find this to be a very very relaxing hobby for me. It's how I can decompress, chill out, get my what's it? Clear my head sometimes, just be able to sit and get through my pile of models, and I always have a pile of models to get through. Never quite finish all of the things that I gotta finish. But I'm actually doing quite well at getting through quite a lot of my Infinity these days. How much have I got left? So I've got a whole bunch of JSA to paint up, which is this kind of color scheme that I'm doing here. Got quite a lot of models to get through, but I really have a motivation to kind of get them done so that I can hopefully one day play them on the table and give them a good old go. Because I've never actually played with a JSA in Infinity. And now I've actually got enough models to do so. I really want them all painted, but I'm also going to take my time in getting it done right. They'll probably take a back seat once I get Tag Raid, which is a Kickstarter that I backed. And Tag Raid basically is linked into this universe of a game. But it comes with basically these larger models, which are a bit like this, which are basically like, what's it? A bit like mechs in this universe. Kind of larger models that like to fight a lot and are a little bit tougher. I guess they're the equivalent of 40k dreadnoughts and things. And I'm going to be getting a whole bunch of those, basically. So they're going to be fun to paint, along with like these really cool mega beasts, these giant monsters that I get to paint. One of them's a dragon. I'm like really excited to paint something that's a little bit fantasy style. Hey, no, welcome to the show, Crouching Otter. No, that's okay. You go and enjoy the footy. Who's playing today? I'm completely out of the loop of watching any kind of football or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I haven't actually been streaming for a while, so it's kind of nice just to be back on and stream again. Um, I'm finding it very cathartic. So I'm trying to keep my stream on a fairly regular schedule now, if I can, and that's going to be like for me my Saturday nights and my Thursday nights. If I can kind of dedicate them to painting, then I can get some models done while also having a chat on stream, and that makes me feel good. That will be kind of like the lovely thing for me to do. So yeah, thanks for popping in and saying hello. Yeah. Right, I know I'm going to be actually doing a whole load of NMM on Nmm Gold on her missile launcher as well in places, but I just haven't decided exactly where, so I'm going to save that one for later and just work on the uniform of the models so I know exactly what that's going to look like. So that is my aim at the moment. Okay, so now I mix in my golden brown with some ivory to make this kind of pale yellow, and then this is going to be the next highlight up. But yeah. All right, so it seems today everyone is coming in watching on YouTube, which is it's interesting because my Thursday stream, pretty much everyone was coming and joining from Twitch. So it's kind of interesting to see where the chats are coming in. I've just started using like a restreamer to be able to just do both platforms at the same time because I was kind of like, oh, do I just stick with YouTube? Do I just stick with Twitch? And then it was like, well, I guess I could just do both. So I think actually doing this kind of restream thing of actually doing it on both is actually working out quite well for me because some people just use Twitch more, some people use YouTube more, and just catching one or two people each night is really, really special for me. So thank you for joining if you have joined us. All right, good morning there, Bear Garrett. All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for following on Insta as well. I really I like I need to get on. I had kind of not uploaded stuff to Insta for a while, just because I wasn't painting enough. Every time I do paint something, I do try to upload it to Instagram as often as I can, and I try to check Instagram and see how people's works are going. But yeah, I'm gonna have to catch up on how your work is going as well. Oh, fantastic! You're gonna be finishing off a Defiance campaign. Oh, lovely. Oh, well done. Excellent. I'm kind of going through a campaign for my YouTube. You can kind of see the video that I made down in the corner there. If you haven't seen that, you can see the first mission that I played out. It actually went really, really well for me. And I've played the second mission. I just haven't edited it yet, and I've got to sit down and start editing that. I'm just kind of finishing off the script. I've also uploaded. I basically not uploaded, but I've created the 360 models for the animation for the models that are in the second mission, and so everything's kind of all the assets that I need for editing are all there. I've just got to sit down and actually write the script, record the script, and then start editing. And so hopefully I can start doing that pretty soon, because I want to get on with it so I can actually make that video, upload that, and move on to the next mission as well. It just takes me a while to do so. Yeah, and the streaming on both is going well. So yeah, it's kind of nice to stick my finger in both pies and just see which one tastes better, or just eat them both. Not sure where that analogy is going, but anyway. But yeah, Defiance is a fun game. There's a lot of like weird rules problems in the rule book, not in the rule book so much, but more so in the campaign book, like how certain things really work. But you can kind of luckily because it's a dungeon crawler, you can kind of house rule it a little bit. It's not too bad. You just be a bit lenient on exactly how you approach it, and you're all good. Oh, right, I think I've just done the NMM on all four of them. Fantastic. Right, let's go ahead, and now they've got so this is my kind of like the first model that I painted for my JSA to give me the color scheme and things. So let's go ahead and get on with the kind of the blue cloth that they're wearing. And I've just realized as well, the blue is in the arms as well, and I haven't done that. I've actually painted their arms black, so I'm gonna have to repaint some of that to get it consistent again. Running out a little bit on space of my wet palette there, but we'll get there for sure. Yeah, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work there, Crouching Otter. It was. I don't know why I did that to myself. Like, if I want to actually get consistent, like, because like with YouTube, you kind of got to get like lots of consistent videos out on a regular schedule to really kind of like, get the algorithm and all that bollocks. And I'm just crap at that. So I kind of just make videos that I want to make. And I'm kind of sometimes a little disappointed that some videos don't get the traction that I would like them to have, because I put a little bit more effort in. And then there's other ones that get loads of traction that I'm kind of not too fussed about it, not really wanting it to get too much traction and things. I think like the video that I have that is most popular, or at least has probably been the most clickbaity because of its title, and I knew it when I was writing it. I was like, this is such a clickbaity title, which is the was it like the thing that's wrong about Infinity and it's not the game, and when I had a rant about the lore and things. That one I wasn't really too bothered about it being big. I just kind of had that inside me after I was trying to do some research for a painting video, and I just had to let it out. But that's the one that keeps getting the views at the moment. And I'm just like, I don't really want that one to get all the views. I want like my Aristea battle reports to get the views. I want my Defiance playthrough to get the views. I would like my like short story fiction to get a little bit more interest, to be honest. But that's just kind of the format of the platform and things. So yeah. I kind of I messaged Jeremy as well to join the stream tonight. He was just a bit busy. He had to go, but he was just like, no, I can't do it tonight. So it's like, oh, that's gonna be how it is. But I think what we said was like, any time that we are both kind of like free on a Saturday, we're gonna try and stream together, because that was so much fun. I really enjoyed that. And it was just good as well. Like we're painting very different kinds of stuff and in a different style and things, but it's just nice to have some conversation, like covering the stuff that we're into at the moment and what we're playing and what we're doing. Because I love listening to Jeremy's like take on a lot of games and things. He's got so much knowledge on so many different systems and things like that, where I'm just kind of a little bit more specialized in learning like one or two more complicated systems, I guess. And kind of like I kind of engross myself into one system or one game at a time. It's quite good. And yeah, it's kind of nice to kind of also see each other's techniques and things. I enjoyed just kind of every so often like looking over at his stream. It was really good, yeah. When I suggested the idea of us doing it together, he was like really for it, which was great. It was just like, I've just got to figure out how I'm actually going to stream my painting and things. So I think I probably caused him a little bit of stress, as he had to try and figure out how he was going to set up the stream. But I think he set it up really well. It looked really good. So yeah, it's nice to be able to just stream with someone, because sometimes I have been on and there's just nobody joining, no one's in chat. I'm just kind of talking to myself going, what am I doing? Yeah. I guess there was some element of stuff that resonated, I guess. I did actually get like when I think I uploaded it to the Infinity community page on Facebook, and I think even Bostria actually commented on that and was like, oh, this is an interesting take on thoughts about the lore. And I tried to reply back. I did send a message replying back saying, oh, I'd be really curious, have you heard this kind of point of view from anyone before? But I didn't get a message back, so I don't know if he has or not. But it was like, oh, it's always a pleasure when like the creators of the game kind of reply and things. It's kind of really nice. I think Helios as well, one of the guys who designs the games and things, he's replied to a couple of posts, I think, or even on a YouTube channel as well. It feels kind of special, because I really love, like, as much as that video was a bit of a criticism against Corvus Belli, I absolutely adore their minis, and I really love their games, and I do think they do everything with a lot of passion. There's a few mistakes here and there along the way, but I find them to be forgivable, considering this is just it's not like life-changing things. They're just models at the end of the day, but they are special to us, and we want it to be as good as possible. So having like that healthy criticism is important. But again, that video was like a very quick video. Well, no, maybe not super quick video, but I think I did it in an afternoon. It was just like a quick passion project, where I was just like looking for information about Victor Messer and getting so frustrated I couldn't find anything. I was like, right, I'm going to be changing the direction of this video. It's not going to be about painting Victor Messer. It's going to be about the fact that I can't find any bloody lore about the guy. Now, actually, like looking at the analytics of the video, like everyone watches that first half. And then it, like there's a big drop off when I start doing my own like story. I'm just like, God damn it! I really wish it was the other way around, because as much as I'm not I don't think I'm a good writer, to be honest. But I did really enjoy. That was the bit I actually enjoyed, was challenging myself to do something that I'm not comfortable with. And that was more of the thing that I wanted people to be taken interest in. The really nice thing, though, is those who did stay around and listen to it, they actually there was quite a few comments from them saying that they really like the lore and they'd like to see more of it. And even so, oh, you had awesome experience with the Infinity Staff? Fantastic. Yeah, they're really nice. I remember getting like miss packs and things, and they always send in like anything that you're missing, and really, really nice guys. What's it? I was actually going to say something. Oh yeah. So actually it was Jeremy that suggested to me, why don't you actually do a Patreon? Because even though, you know, I've only got like 400 subscribers on YouTube and things, it's a very kind of small audience. He said, because it's kind of that niche thing, you'll be surprised at actually who wants to support you and things like that. Someone might actually get in there, kind of thing. And Jeremy, being the nicest person alive, he, of course, when I set it up, subscribed to my Patreon. So I was like, oh, he's like the nicest guy ever. That was really, really nice. But I actually got another I got another subscriber to my Patreon, and he actually went on to I got two tiers, a $3 tier and a $6 tier, and he went on the $6 tier. I was just like, oh, thank you so much. That means like a lot, really a lot to me, that someone is actually wanting to actually properly support me on the Patreon. And it was like, yeah, the thing that I really loved was your lore videos, where you kind of wrote your own short stories. And I thought, oh, you need a Patreon. And as soon as you got the Patreon, I supported it. I was like, oh, that's just like the nicest thing I've ever heard. So that made me really happy. And so I'm like, okay, I've got to keep making some of those kind of videos, even though they really don't get that many views. I don't really care. The fact that there are those very few people that actually have a passion for the stuff I wrote, that meant the world to me. So I'm looking forward to writing the third part to my little trilogy that I'm doing. Yeah, it was just really nice. So I'm looking forward to writing the third part to my trilogy, which was based around the Orpheus, which is one of the 3 ships that go through the Acheron Gateway, was planned to go through the Acheron Gateway to sabotage the Combine's plans to create a stable wormhole. And that ship was basically destroyed by the Shasvasti, and when you actually find their crew in the Game of Defiance, you find them being hunted down by the Charantid. And so I wrote a short story about those characters on the Orpheus, and how and then the Charantid actually attacks with a force of Shasvasti. The third part is actually going to be from the first 2 parts. The first part was done from the ship's doctor, Rahman Rouhani, And then the second part was done by the security liaison officer from Aleph, Trishala N33, who's kind of thinks more like a robot rather than like in cold hard facts more, and systems analysis rather than just pure feeling or anything like that. And they were around Victor Messer and Ada Swanson on the same mission together. So there's the four of them on the ship. All right, yeah, take care, Crouching Otter. Enjoy the game of footy, and I hope whichever team you're supporting wins. And even if not, you just have a good, you enjoy the game. So yeah, enjoy. And I lost the trail of thought of the story that I was talking about. But yeah, that thing I was talking about. Anyway, yeah, I'm really, really happy with just the support I've been getting, and just generally, like, this hobby just has the nicest people in it. Like, you can do the wargaming side of things, and there's still like loads of really nice people, but you'll get a few of those sometimes tryhards or ones who just want to complain about the game and the rules and things like that, and that kind of ruins the experience a bit. But in painting, I don't think there really is anyone who's really an asshole, because I think anything with the painting, everyone started off at a fairly low level. Obviously, people have certain talents for things, and they will be actually pretty good from the get-go. But I think you find everyone in the painting side of the hobby is like humble, so humble. And that's why I kind of really love doing like the videos for painting, the painting side of things, and just putting up things like on Instagram and sharing your painting work and things. Probably even like the most toxic places like I would say like Reddit are still pretty nice in terms of the mini painting side of things. It's like they're really special, so it's good. All right, let's tackle these pants. How are we going to tackle these pants? It's been a while since I painted these things, so I got to choose my paints for this. I think, if I remember rightly, and I'm really bad at this, I should keep like notebooks, a journal, a painting journal, so I know exactly what I have. But I believe I went with the Citadel paint Altdorf Guard Blue. Now, if I remember rightly, though, with this one, the coverage isn't super, and I believe I went up to Hoeth Blue, perhaps. What's it? Is it Hoeth Blue? Hoeth Blue. But this one, I think, is completely dried out. I'm shaking it and I can't hear a thing going. So it's probably... I haven't used it in God knows how long. So let's see if anything actually comes out. Oh, I think it's completely separated. Yeah, that's no good for me. That's terrible. For some reason, it's like eaten a hole. Oh, no, it hasn't. It's okay. No, yeah, I can't use that one. It seems to have separated completely. So that what has probably happened in there, this is where you need a vortex mixer, I guess. What's happened inside? Oh, I can start to hear something shake. The medium is separated from the paint, and I think the paint has dried. It's starting to get a shake going. If I can get some of this out, it's got me gyrating like crazy. Oh, Christ. I really need a vortex mixer, I think. Just try and see if I can get a bit more of a consistent paint out. I don't think I'm going to get it. I'm not getting anything. Right. Let's stick that in there. Oh, yeah, I can feel it's all goopy at the bottom. So I think it has just separated. I'm not going to be able to use this paint. But that's no big deal, because I'm getting more into just mixing my own kind of paints and things. And you know what? Let's try and see if we can make our own lighter blue that has a little bit more of a kick of contrast in it. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a go. And that is going to be like, let's give the old Altdorf Guard blue a go. And that's true as well. Some of the, okay, they're on subreddit too. Yeah, if there's, what's it? Oh, there's, I don't know. I'm not very good with Reddit, to be honest. But I in Reddit as well, on the mini painting community, they do a competition, and I've actually entered the last two. Did okay at the intermediate level on the first one, like just not really high or anything, but I did okay. And then I tried again with a diorama, which I photographed really badly. I think, yeah, I didn't deserve to be in like any of the top for it, but I did put a lot of effort into it, but I photographed it really poorly. And I was like, I wish I knew the photography methods that I know now and use them to do it. Actually, it's this one here. This was called The Master. Yeah, thank you. I'm probably just going to do a really basic one this time round. I'm not going to go like a full diorama. This took quite a bit of time for me, and I was trying to figure out OSL, which I'd never done before. And a lot of the colors were a bit too light, I guess. But I enjoyed painting this one. It was kind of fun and kind of creating the scene and trying to get the height levels right. That was kind of cool. Yeah, that was fun. But it didn't do very well. I feel like it should have done a lot better, actually. And normally I'm actually the other end of it, where I'm like more humble and like be like, oh no, it is crap. But I was kind of like a bit bummed that I did really poorly. And I kind of like looked at it going, the photos were terrible. And my main photo was really bad. So I was like, I should have been a bit more careful with the photography side of things, perhaps. But this time I'm just going to probably just do a single mini, just a small mini, into the intermediate, and see if I can get a little bit higher in the grades. But to be honest, that last one, they had like some really good prizes, so I think also a lot more technically skilled painters got into doing that one. So I might have been knocked down just because there was a lot more better painters. But yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. It was really fun to paint. So I just have it kind of sitting up there, and I just have a look at it every so often, going, yeah, I should have done it a little bit better. But I'm kind of proud with what I did there for my first ever diorama. I was pretty chuffed. But yeah, when the results came out and I kind of looked up the results, I was, to be honest, pretty disappointed. Like, I kind of like, I think I finished like mid-table. I was like, But yeah, it was still a fun experience to do that. And the last two times as well, one of my favorite YouTube painters, Travarian Miniatures, was like the guest judge. I think they also had Midwinter Minis as well, judging like the top entries and things like that. And so it's kind of like, I wish I got into like the top 5, top 10 to be able to appear in those videos as he judges them and get some advice on them and things like that. But alas, I didn't quite get there. But a very good experience in itself. I think like if you want to improve in painting, I like a lot of what the really good painters say is just get into competitions. Just do lots of competitions. Doesn't matter your level, just do a competition, and just keep pushing yourself on that one mini that you're doing for that competition and do the best you can with it. And that's the best way to improve quickly. But yeah, it was fun doing a competition. They're the only competitions I've ever done. I have seen in like the Osaka Games Workshop, I believe they do a fair number of competitions with obviously Warhammer models and things. It's just I don't really want to buy Warhammer models. It's just my thing. There's some really nice Warhammer models. I've just only got so much space, and I kind of want to keep that space for my Infinity models here. Yeah, I don't quite like the flow of Altdorf blue. It's not great, to be honest, but could be worse. Could be worse. I can work around that. It's just very streaky, I find. So it's hard to get like a smooth blend with it. But yeah, I just want to try and catch where I feel like the light will be reflecting off the fabric of these, and them being fabric, they'll have different properties to the armor and things. So you kind of want to paint it a little bit differently to try and get that property. I'm still kind of learning that sense of like, okay, what are different types of textures and how would you paint that different type of texture to kind of give that effect. Obviously there's information in the sculpt, but sometimes you just kind of need to approach things a little bit differently to create that effect. But it's kind of hard to figure out exactly. It's not an exact science. Okay, now this is where I'm going to be experimenting a little bit. And I got my new paints that I bought. One of them is the one that like every kind of YouTuber raves about, and that's ice yellow. Mainly because like when you're looking to paint your highlights in your model, rather than using white, which will desaturate the color that you're using, you can use things like this lighter yellow to help keep a stronger saturation of the color that you're doing. So it'll still lighten the color, but it hopefully won't desaturate it by very much. And I'm hoping, even with the blue, just mixing in just a little bit there, obviously it's going to greenify a bit, but already you can see it's gone that lighter color, but it doesn't look desaturated. So hopefully it will still have a bit of oomph when you're putting it on the model, so you can like really see that highlight, rather than having like all of that color underneath everything and then you're highlighting up to something that's been a desaturated blue. Here you're going to keep that saturation high, but you're also making a lighter blue. And so that will hopefully be the bit that pops. And already I feel like that looks good. So I'm like, ice yellow is going to be like my go-to kind of like higher layer paint that I mix into whatever color I'm going to be doing. Yeah, and already what it does is it thickens the Altdorf blue a little bit, so it is less streaky, and it's quite useful having it a little bit thicker. Obviously, I've not got a lot on the brush. Having it a little bit thicker, but with not so much on the brush, means to a certain extent, I'm dry brushing here. It's kind of a little bit more exact than just pure dry brushing, but not that much more. I'm still being pretty rough with it. But yeah, that's a beautiful light blue. That's really helping it pop. Yeah, I think ice yellow is probably my best purchase of paint in a long time. And I can see why everyone raves about it as like the thing that you mix with your paints to just keep that high contrast for the next layer up. It's great. I actually used it for what's it, the sword that I did on the back here. So I did this, you can see this kind of pink sword that has got this power sword here. All of the areas that it goes into the highlights, I didn't do that with white, I did that with ice yellow. And even though it kind of reads as going from pink to white, what it is actually that ice yellow is really keeping a lot of high contrast, and it's just making it look really, really good. So I was discovering that. I was so happy. It was great. Absolutely fantastic to see. So yeah. Yeah, that was a really fun model to paint, and I love my Shasvasti color scheme. It's actually based off of my pet, our pet at home, which is a bearded dragon. It's a beautiful orange-skinned bearded dragon, and so my Shasvasti aliens are based off of our pet. So that one, I really like that color scheme. It's very good. And I'm actually, this is also a color scheme I really, really like for my JSA. I based it, this one, again, I wanted my JSA to kind of, one, look unique, so I wanted to avoid the usual white and red color scheme of the JSA. I kind of like looked at historical armor of like in feudal Japan, and I kind of zoned in on Oda Nobunaga's armor that he would wear. And there's like a picture of his armor that he would wear often for battles, and he had basically it's like this black armor with gold and blue trim, and so that's where this kind of color scheme came from. Was from that, and so this is, for me, it's like Oda Nobunaga's kind of JSA. And after actually watching the history of Oda Nobunaga on the Netflix series about feudal Japan, I kind of just realized actually how much of an asshole the guy was. Like, he was amazing at what he did and how he could read people and things like that, and what he did for Japan in a way, but my God, he was ruthless, absolutely ruthless. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see, to kind of base this on a kind of like a historical thing. It kind of gave me a theme that I was kind of excited about, and especially as kind of like I got these guys in the whole during the whole change in the law where the Japanese had an uprising against Yu Qing, because they were basically treated as second-class citizens, and they managed to actually separate from Yujing's control over them. And so I thought, like, as a powerful group that is separating from the Yu Qing, I wanted it to kind of be based off of Oda Nobunaga, like one of the great tactical generals of Japan's history. And so I would love them to make a kind of like an Oda Nobunaga character for JSA in Infinity. I think that would be kind of cool. But yeah. But that's just me. Alright, let's go ahead and mix in a little bit of that. Yeah, so it's just so streaky, this paint. It's kind of a bother. It's not one of GW's best, to be honest. And to be honest, I'm just transferring pretty much everything now to Vallejo. I haven't bought a GW paint in years, but luckily these paints, every single one of these paints just last years, generally, unless they dry in the bottle. Yeah, you kind of can keep going with these for quite a while. There's a couple that I've started to replace now by getting the Vallejo equivalents. Luckily, there's people online that have been able to find, like, oh, this is your closest equivalent of what the GW one was. And so I kind of find that GW paint that I've used a lot of that I kind of liked, but I don't want to buy a GW again, so I find the Vallejo one that's the equivalent kind of color. And that's helped out a lot, because Vallejo is kind of pretty consistently good paints. There are a couple that are a bit off, but mostly they're really consistent in their quality and kind of their opacity and ease of use and things like that. And also they're just a lot cheaper, which is great. And the fact that there is a place in Japan where you can actually buy them is also a bonus. Right? It would be awesome, right? Just, it'd be fantastic. Exactly. I think you got it exactly. It was Sun. I was literally thinking like kind of like a JSA version of Sunze kind of thing, and that would be kind of really cool. But still, he's kind of like a bit of an in-your-face kind of guy sometimes. I think, just very ruthless. But yeah, I would love it to be like the JSA's version of Sunze. So if ever like JSA needed a commander character with like Strategos ability or something like that, it should be someone like Oda Nobunaga. I just feel like though the way they want JSA to be is that kind of more of the alpha strikey, charge in, try and do the damage that you need to try and win the game before you just fold like paper, is my understanding of how a lot of JSA works. Don't know yet because I haven't actually played with them yet. But yeah, it would be awesome to have him. Yeah, hello Defective Dice, welcome to the stream. Yeah, the Varejo are great. Initially, when I was in Japan here, I didn't know if there were any other kind of paints, so I kind of collected a lot of the GW stuff. And then it was actually Jeremy who was like, oh, by the way, there's this shop that actually sells Vallejo. And I'm like, oh, really? And how much are they? And I was like, oh my god, it's like almost half the price. And you get a lot more in the bottle. And they're in dropper bottles. And oh, it's just like, okay, all of those things tick the box, really. And then when you use them, you're like, oh, wow, these are really nice paints. So yeah, they're great. And there are kind of like other paints that I'd love to try, but it's not really necessary because paints is paints. There's going to be... You can kind of do everything you need to with any paints that you can find. It's just some are going to be a lot harder to use, or you have to work with them a lot more to be able to get what you need out of them, rather than some which you can just get out of the bottle and it kind of does what you need it to do. You don't have to play around with its consistency too much, or it just has the right opacities and things like that. But sometimes paints is paints. I've always been tempted to pick up like the Chimera basic set because I like I love the idea of just having that one basic set of paints and then being able to basically make any color from mixing them, and just being able to understand how to create the colors that you need just through those basics. But I've heard also they're a little bit of a challenge to use, but I wouldn't mind just getting the basic that basic set that has all like the primary colors in it, and just trying them out. But that's more of a when I have a little bit of money to throw around kind of thing, and I just don't. So I'm just like, no, just buy a couple of Vallejo paints that you need and then just be done. So yeah. And I tend to go with the model colors and not the game colors. Although a lot of people, I guess, generally go with... I don't know if they generally go with, but a lot of people do use the kind of the game colors for when they're painting like fantasy models and things. So like if you're into the Warhammer kind of things, and to an extent like the Infinity stuff, you might use the game colors. The game colors are a little bit more satin. They have a little bit more of that shine. But like if you're into like the military war kind of painting where they do the tanks and things like that, then you're using like usually model colors, which are matte. But I really like using those matte model color ones. I think it tests you more as a painter as well. to some extent, like the satin ones, because they have a little bit of a shine in them. You can kind of trick the light a little bit of the actual lights that are around you and kind of make things look a little bit better than they actually are, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. Now, actually, I'm lucky in Japan. I can pick up Chimera, the same place that sells Vallejo here, which is Volk's, the Osaka Volk's showroom. They also sell Chimera paints as well. And they actually have Chimera busts and things like that. So if I really feel like it, I could just drop some money and pick up that set of Chimera paints when they have it in stock and things. But I don't know. I keep telling myself, like, I probably don't need to get Chimera paints right now. Just kind of stick with what I've got for the moment and keep practicing. Because I kind of get distracted easily into like a gimmicky new thing to try out, and I won't paint anything because I'm kind of learning how to do this gimmicky thing that I might never ever do again. And sometimes it would be better for me to just sit down and do some painting. It's kind of a bit like with that whole theory versus practice as well. Like, I'll watch a video and be learning about all painting techniques but not actually practicing them, and so I have the theory in my head but not actually paint. Sorry, my mind is like constantly jumping from one thing to another. So when I start talking, I'm kind of like this person who's like out to sea, and my thought patterns are like very gentle waves. But if I'm not paying attention to those gentle waves, I completely lose the shore line and I get lost out to sea. That's kind of how my head works. It's really kind of, I want to be able to think straight on things, but I'm just so bouncy with my brain. But yeah, very interesting. It's all YouTube today. I haven't had anything from my Twitch at all. It's very curious. Yeah. No one on the Twitch stream, but it's very strange. That's just a strange curiosity for myself, just because the last time I was on doing it, the first time I did the restream system, it was everyone on Twitch, and it's like, I guess it's just like you have a few people on, it kind of pulls a few more people in to chat, like, oh, there's like 3 or 4 people, let's go and chat, kind of thing. When if it's like, oh, he's on his Todd, I'm not going to bother. So it just depends wherever I got the traction, that's the one that kind of gets a little bit more traction as well. Just a kind of a curious aside, I guess that was. But yeah. I don't know where my head's at. It's getting late. I've had a day of doing presentations to teachers all day long. We had it's a Saturday, but we had work. It was originally going to be a summer festival, but that gets cancelled because of COVID. So we still had work. But we decided to move the our workshops to today, and so I have to run the workshops, and I have to go to 3 schools, and they're 2-hour workshops. So I'm basically just jumping from school to school doing the workshops. It was fun, but I'm a bit like brain fried. All right, fair enough. Yeah. But yeah, you don't have to switch just for me, because I'm just asking about Twitch, getting on. But no, I am just like, oh, it's interesting, because I was always like, at first I was like, should I do Twitch? Should I do YouTube? And I was kind of like doing Twitch for a while and going, oh, sometimes I get it, sometimes I get traction, sometimes I don't. And then I was like having a spate of getting absolutely no audience for a while. So I was like, okay, let me switch to YouTube. Oh, I got a couple of people. But then that one goes to 0 as well. And so actually doing the restream has actually worked out really well, because usually then, or at least for now, I get somebody in, and that allows me to start my rambling. And I think when I just start my rambling, even though it's complete and utter bollocks, that sometimes pulls some more people in to at least be like, what is this guy on about? But I really enjoy the fact that people will message, and I can play off of that to be able to have a chat and things. It's great. music. I need to reset up my whole music for the background. And to be honest, I probably don't even need music. Most people are probably doing their own thing in their background, so they got another like TV show, or they got their own music going whilst they can listen to me talk if they're actually interested in me talking. Did I say I have a weird stream of consciousness? Oh, crikey. All right. Okay, can I just say I'm loving this ice yellow. It's like popping like nothing before. So I think if you just like kind of have a quick look at the pants between these two guys, and basically both using this same kind of colors, but this one kind of got highlighted with a little bit of white mixed in with the Altdorf blue, whereas this one got the ice yellow, and this one just feels so much more kind of poppy and a nicer highlight, and I'm just kind of a little bit more of an intense highlight while still being kind of a highlight. Oh, love it. So yeah, just give you a kiss. Mwah! Fantastic. So yeah, that's really good. I've gone wrong. I've just gone wrong, I think. Oh dear. Now I go to 0 viewers just because I've just gone a bit too odd. Anywho. Yeah, well, tomorrow I got my Sunday, so that's my day off. So I just spend that with my daughter. If I can squeeze in a little bit of video editing and things, I'll try and do that as well, because I need to catch up on getting some video content out for YouTube. I actually have a YouTube video going out possibly midnight tonight. So I think maybe in 25 minutes. I had it scheduled a week ago, so we'll see if I think that goes out tonight or tomorrow night. No, Sunday morning, I think. So yeah, I think it's actually going to be going live in 25 minutes. And that one's just what was it I did in that video? I think it was just a painting video. What was I painting? Because my mentor video is already out. Why have I already forgotten what my next YouTube video is? I literally made it just over a week ago, and it went on my Patreon first. So it's been on the Patreon for a week for my one subscriber, for my one high-level subscriber, as he gets my YouTube videos basically a week early for his subscription value, or up to a week early. And now I've completely forgotten what it was I painted that I put up there. That's not great. Not a great promotion there. It's like that forgettable. You're secretly here for the tangents. Fantastic, because there's many of them. You could make a drinking game out of it. Every time I start talking about some subject and I switch into something completely different, you got to take a swig or something. That would be kind of fun to do. Maybe I could do that and people would have to highlight tangent and I got to drink something. Probably not good to get myself too much into a drinking frenzy online. I don't think I want to do that. No, I don't want to remove branding, go away. That's not what I was aiming for. What was I going to look at? Oh yeah, I was going to look at my YouTube just to see what my bloody video that I'm going to be releasing is. Oh, thank you very much for that. I'm saying thank you very much because YouTube's just highlighting for me that I've gone online. Thanks. Christ, what is the video that I'm releasing? My videos, come on. Ah! That's right, it's not a painting video. That's why I'm having a bad memory on things, because it's not a painting video. It's a Defiance video where I actually go over the Cheskin. Oh god, yeah, drunken painting is probably not the best idea. I'd have to do a model I really don't care about. One of the things I got a whole collection of like really old Warhammer models, and what I would love to do is, because I got to make some space here, and I'm not going to make any use of them, so it would be kind of a good excuse to just paint them up, and then just I was thinking of like just eBaying them, and then kind of making a video about them getting eBayed, and kind of following like the auction with it, like literally put it on for like 50 cents, obviously plus the shipping and things, and just seeing how much they sell for, and like maybe pit two models against each other that are in a similar kind of thing. So I've got a whole bunch of Necromunda models, so like perhaps taking like the Orlok heavy versus the Goliath heavy, like the old school old hammer versions of them, paint them both up to a similar standard, and then just auction them on eBay and see what happens. I think it would make for a kind of an interesting experiment. Frees up some space in my my collection, and might make for a fun series for YouTube. I don't know. I'd have to see. I know I've kind of like got lots of little ideas, and I'm just like, I don't have the time to actually do any of this kind of stuff. But yeah. The other thing I was thinking of doing as well, because I kind of like with the painting videos, there's lots of really great channels doing painting videos, and a lot of people are a lot better at painting than me. But I got the idea of perhaps at first doing kind of like a paint along, like let's do power weapons, let's paint a power weapon and paint along with me, kind of thing. So find a weapon that you want to make into a power weapon, and we're going to go over exactly how to paint it, and we're going to just do it together, and you have these moments to pause. And then I got thinking on it even more, and I was like, why not do it in the style of like a Bob Ross video, where to a certain extent I can go off on tangents as I'm painting, and it's part of the video, but do it in a kind of like a more of a Bob Ross way, and things that are like really, really calming and chill. Obviously I can't do that as just a general rant. I would probably just record the video of the painting, and then afterwards kind of semi script kind of a Bob Ross style monologue over the whole thing, so you can kind of paint along and listen to a weird Bob Ross style video. I don't know. I know he's quite popular with everyone, and his videos were quite super with how kind of like chill and calming they are, and how you paint along. I think I haven't really seen like a miniature paint along kind of video. There's always like the highlights of the this is what you do, and then it's like here it's done, and you're like, what? How did you get from that bit to that bit though? I always find that bit like the hard part. So doing something simple like a power weapon that doesn't take very long, that might be kind of fun to follow along. Yeah, I bet, right? It's always like, as long as you have that list though, you've always got something to come back to and always have a look. I've been meaning to actually stick up a list and just write all of these things down, to be like, one day go, I just feel inspired to do this particular type of video. But it's the Defiance videos that are the ones that like always at the back of my mind. I've got to work on that Defiance video. And just knowing how long it's going to take me to make each video is always sometimes a bit off-putting. But it's fun making these videos, and that's why I kind of do it. Is I love making videos as well. Like that's part of my hobbies, is learning editing and all the techniques that go with editing, and like learning an editing program. That's also a hobby of mine. So I've just tried to tie in all of my favorite things into one. I am the Weaver, and do that. Yeah, it's funny. Like I guess they show you what they think is important, but sometimes you just like wait a minute. There's a very key moment there that we've skipped and we haven't seen, and I'm sure it happens in my videos as well, where it's like, hey, wait a minute, how did you get from there to there? I think just like doing something simple, as I said, like a power weapon, like just one side of the blade. And because it doesn't take so long, like I think I can probably do one in 20 minutes. And the idea would be like, okay, here is like the first step. Here is how I've placed it. Now just pause the video and get yourself into a similar zone kind of thing. And then, okay, now you're ready to continue to the next part. This is what we're going to do. And like follow along, pause as we go, and with a general idea of suggesting, why don't you just set this video up in front of your painting table and we can do it together. I think that would make for an interesting concept as an approach. It's just figuring out how you do that approach as well to where it actually works. It's kind of also hard. But yeah. All right. I feel like I'm actually making progress today with my painting, which is great. Yeah. Yeah, you're always, like with YouTube, you're always you're getting that kind of that. This is I guess the frustrating thing with YouTube is, like, when you go on YouTube, you're kind of like wanting that video that's like no more than 10 minutes, or like 10 to 15 minutes is like your sweet spot of a video length for people's kind of attention spans and things that you're doing. And so, and then like you're always having like the more clickbaity kind of titles sometimes for videos, whereas other platforms maybe are like more kind of almost documentary style, where or teaching style, where you want like the full process and things like that. So I've started doing on my Patreon, and I don't know if that's going to be of an interest for people in the future, but it's a very quick thing for me to throw together, so it's not too bad. And that is, I basically do I stick up an uncut version of a painting, a paint scheme that I do. And so if you join the Patreon, you get access to those kind of uncut painting videos where it's just a recording of my entire painting process, with me just editing out the bits where my brush is going somewhere, or if I'm just like la-di-da-di-da-di thinking. It's just showing all of the painting part, all of that. Yeah, I literally tried, like, you know, like the YouTube shorts. I had to go at doing one of those. I still, like, I made it exactly a minute because I was like, I can't go any shorter than that. But I did it for the power sword, just like set it to music and see if I have a go at it, just to see what that format was like as a kind of as a giggle. It was kind of fun just to make like an edited video in that style, but it was a kind of a throwaway video. I'd much rather do a kind of like an actual in detail style of video. But yeah. But yeah, I don't quite get the. I think I'm too old for TikTok for sure. I'm too old for TikTok. I don't quite get it, and yeah, it's just a bit weird to me. And every so often, like, catch a TikTok and guess from Reddit, when you're just on Reddit and they have a post that's from TikTok, you might catch something there. But really, I'm not interested in that platform style at all. But yeah. But yeah, I'm really happy with the process I'm getting today, because we're getting to, like, I'm doing all of the bits that I kind of really enjoy, which is when you get all of your base colors down and you just start highlighting things and just layering on things, because you don't have to put on so much paint to do that. And but at the same time, it's like when you can start to see things like coming together, and you can start to see like the depth of the model coming out, and like you're like, oh yeah, it's getting closer to being complete. Fantastic. So yeah, I like this part of the painting process. It's really, really cathartic for me. Now, I'm wondering if my wife is either asleep, which she probably is. I would imagine she's had quite a long day because she's had to take care of Sarah all by herself. Poor thing. Or she's watching The Walking Dead, because my wife loves The Walking Dead. I watched a lot of it and I really enjoyed it, but I just stopped watching because I was just like, I'm not following this series anymore, and I have absolutely no interest to see where this goes. But she's still been going strong with Walking Dead. It's like quite amazing. I can't believe they're still going with it. It's absolutely nuts. But yeah. I'm currently watching what's it? I'm watching the Apple TV Plus series C, with Jason Momoa, and what's his face, the wrestler, who's in like loads of movies and is actually a fantastic actor. Bautista, David Bautista or something. Watching that series, I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of fun. I love the world that they built, with all the blind people, because it's, for the fact that everyone is blind and can't see, they've made a visually stunning series. So I really love that kind of world building aspect that some people put into their production of their shows and things. That show's got a really lovely aesthetic to it, and I really enjoy watching that at the moment. Just going through season 2, it's kind of fun. And I was actually watching it and going like, this will make a really good miniature war game, because everyone's blind. All of the characters are blind in it, so you can kind of like, it's all kind of like more about positioning and getting into certain like hearing auras and creating reactions whenever someone falls into those hearing auras, and like pulling people through sound traps and things and getting them, like moving them about. And so I think it would make for an interestingly different tactical approach to a war game. Yeah, that was what was going in my head, and I was just like trying to figure out how you would do the rules and things like that, and like what some cool characters would be to have in the party kind of thing, like how the shadows work, who like move silently, and how they could like be your assassins, and they can just kind of like appear places because they're so silent to the enemy. It would just be kind of cool. And then you have the sighted as well, who have like poorer hearing abilities, so their hearing auras are very small, but they can see far. But then you can have units that could drop smoke to hide movement and things, so that the sighted couldn't see, and you kind of get close to them, and then they're kind of screwed, because when the blind get close, they can hear everything and take you out. It would just be cool. Another tangents. Fantastic. But yeah, there we go. All right. Oh, I'm probably hitting that time of the night where I am, like I'm really tired, and I've been running on the fumes of what I've got today, with the energy of how much I wanted to be online to do some painting, and gone on enough tangents that I think I've now fried my brain, because I feel like my brain is not now working at all with the English language or anything. Is not actually getting any ideas of things to talk about in my mind. So I'm just going to like end up going completely silent as I just stare and paint. Have I ever accidentally broken part of one? Is that a miniature? Like a part of a miniature? If that's what you're asking, then yes. Many times, especially with Infinity models, because they're metal. If you drop one of them, it's gonna just smash into all of its respective pieces that it originally came in. And yeah, I've done that a few times. I've been lucky enough to be able to like not chip the paint too badly and be able to just super glue it back on, and then maybe just put on a little touch of paint just to cover up the error. Yeah, good. I was on the right line of thinking there. Yeah, I've broken plenty of miniatures by just dropping them, or just accidentally like moving things around my painting table and then just going smack. If I went and actually played war games a lot, I would probably do it even more. I try to be as careful as possible with my minis, because I don't want my paint job to be ruined by me dropping them onto hard surfaces or anything like that. I do with all my Infinity models, I do varnish them, so that helps protect them a little bit. But dropping them there, they're gonna have their parts fall off quite often. It happens, but usually a little bit of glue and a little bit of replacement, and it's not too bad. It should still look pretty much the same. Yeah. It's very dependent on the material that they're made of as well. So, like, there's some which are made like of a PVC type of plastic. Sometimes the quality is not so good. However, you could like throw those around and they'll be fine. Warhammer models are generally pretty good, but every so often you can just have it hit in a certain way and it just tears the model apart. Like it just explodes like a pinata. But again, those ones are kind of easy to fix. It's just these metal minis, if they come in their parts, they're very easy to fall apart. The biggest problem with the metal minis is, and this is why I varnish them, is that they just chip. And especially like with like the grease from your fingers and things, if you touch the model a lot, then you're gonna get all of the raised surface areas are gonna have that metal just come back right through, and it's just so disheartening that you have to go and like retouch up those areas. So varnishing helps for sure. It keeps it a lot safer. I break models daily. Oh dear, is that just raging? Just like, God damn it, smash! I would literally, like, if I ever watched someone do that, I think that would be like, I don't know, like seeing someone drop a mini and it just exploding it's like it's like the worst thing you could see as a miniature player. It just feels bad. It just feels so bad. And you're just like, oh, I'm so glad it wasn't me, but it was terrible to see. I hate it when that happens, but it does happen. You know what? Something I've been doing this hobby for ages, and I have my big old bottle of Nuln oil, and touch wood, to this day, I have never spilled Nuln oil anywhere. So I've avoided that meme of painters that do that all the time. Yeah, it's always a bit disheartening when it happens, but to be honest, once you actually put it back together, it doesn't look too bad, and then like a tiny touch up and it's back to new again. It's not as, I guess it's not as bad, but it's just like when it happens, oh my god, do you feel like crap when it does happen. Especially like if you're playing that day and then you like wanted to use that model and now you kind of got this model that's on the table with like one arm. It's just like, it's just a flesh wound. Got itchy nose. Okay. I think I done their pants. And, oh, I didn't do your arms. Because I was not careful. A little bit of Altdorf. A little touch of Altdorf. And then a touch of our Altdorf and Ice Yellow Magic. Yep, I can tell I've just gone strange. I've just been doing sound effects for my brush strokes. I'm sitting there going... I completely didn't think about it. I just started making the sound effects for my brush strokes. I think I broke myself. Oh dear, oh dear. There we go, there we go. Okay. Alright. I think that's pretty good. Right now, yeah, mostly Infinity. Actually, the game... I'm crap at Infinity. I don't really play as much as I would want to. The only time I really play it is actually on TTS, on Tabletop Simulator. I don't really get a lot of time to play, so I don't really get to play much, but I try to play that one. The game actually that I really am... I'm not going to say good at, but I'm better at, is Aristea. Aristea is... I kind of get a feel for Aristea a lot more than I do for Infinity. Infinity, I make a lot of errors and mistakes that I shouldn't make. Aristea, I still do that a little bit, but by far less. And usually I'll have some solid tactics that I can use in any kind of games of Aristea, and I really enjoy that game. It's a really fun game. That one's cool. I used to play quite a bit of Malifaux back in 2nd edition. I used to... So, like, when I started getting into, like, painting minis and things since being a child doing it, and then having that period of being a young adult where you don't do it, and then you kind of go, okay, I'm starting to get old now. Let me go back to that childhood thing that made me so happy. And so I went straight to Warhammer because that's where my childhood was. So I got like 40k. I think it was like the 6th edition, the Dark Vengeance box set. And that was perfect for me because I wanted Chaos and I wanted Dark Angels, because when I was a kid I loved Dark Angels. And so I collected those and I kind of started painting a bit. Those ones, it wasn't so much about painting, it was more about getting them painted so I could play. But I kind of slowly got into painting a little bit more. I haven't tried 3rd edition of Malifaux yet. I kind of, like, when they're doing the, just before the change to 3rd, 2nd got kind of bloated with upgrades, and it was just like a mess to try and figure out what your opponents could do, because just the sheer number of upgrades, and then like having to read over your opponents, all of their upgrades and what they do and how they work. It was just like, it was just doing so much mental gymnastics to try and figure out how you're going to play the bloody game. And then also remembering all of your own upgrades and things that you're using. It got a little bit messy, and with all of the extra characters, extra models that were coming out, it just got too much. Then 3rd edition was announced, and then I saw like the rulings of that, of like how they're now doing the keyword thing, and it kind of like the stupid way that I made a bunch of my gangs, because I was just kind of interested in a whole bunch of different models and things. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a bit over there, I'm gonna get a bit over there, I'm gonna get a bit over there. So I kind of got a wide range of kind of models from a faction. When it went to keywords, I was like, I don't actually have enough models to actually fit any of my bloody keywords. And so I just was like, okay, let me just step away from Malifaux for the time being, and I kind of went into Infinity more. But recently I have been kind of tempted to go, I wouldn't mind getting back into a little bit of Malifaux. I've pretty much rounded off a lot of my Infinity factions that I have. And so unless I want to get into a new faction, I'm kind of close to that being complete. So once I actually paint up all of these, I might actually look at getting, just starting Malifaux from scratch, and just going for a Malifaux crew that really I really want to paint. I'm really tempted to go with like a Sami, just to kind of get that yokai, just kind of fantastical kind of characters, and paint them up in however I feel, and just kind of get away from kind of anything realistic and just go with the fantasy monsters and things. It would either be them or maybe something in Neverborn, just to play around with monsters and things. The factions that I was collecting was the Resurrectionists was my first main faction, just because I love playing kind of like the undead, raise the dead kind of style of gameplay. And so Nicodem was actually like my favorite character, and they broke him in 2nd edition eventually, where they just had too many models and he could just summon anything, and so he just became a broken wreck. But initially he wasn't a broken wreck, he was strong, but he wasn't crazy strong. I had a few Resurrectionists. I had McMorning, and I also had Seamus. And so those were the three masters I kind of mainly had for Resurrectionists. And I had a few of their models from each of their kind of groupings. And then I also had the Gremlins as well, and I kind of went with Zip. Zip was my main thing. I just love the idea of this guy running around with a jetpack, just flying about everywhere, just causing mischief. So I went with Zip and Somateeth Jones and Ophelia. I think those are the three I had for. Oh, and I also had the other guy. Yeah, near the end of my run with Malifaux, I really got into. Oh God, what is the drunk ninja one? Fiddlesticks. What is his name? But basically he's like the drunken master gremlin. Oh God damn it, I forget his name. Anyway, he's really cool. I was playing actually around with him, and I had a game against my friend who was running Brewmaster. Yes, thank you. It was Brewmaster. So I had my Brewmaster gang, and I was going up against God damn it! All of the names have gone out of my head. The performer. What's her name? From the God damn it! I've forgotten everything about Malifaux now. But anyway, there's a performer. She's a dancer and magician, she's a magician, but she runs with loads of dancers and things. So we actually imagined this was like in a tavern, and they were doing a performance, and Brewmaster kind of got too drunk watching, and they just ended up having a big brawl and things. And what ended up happening was Brewmaster was just like making everyone drunk and making everyone drink more. So all of the performers were drunk out of their minds. It was just so, yes, Colette, thank you very much. And it was just like such a thematic game. It was so much fun, like where nothing was really getting done because like everyone was just getting drunk. And just getting disabled from doing anything. It was really fun. I don't think we actually killed a single model in that game. Perhaps I lost one model, and otherwise nobody died. It was just like conditions being piled onto everyone through all of the magic performing and the drunken merriment. It was fun. That was great. So now I'm getting really nostalgic for Malifaux. I've still got that bloody bunny to paint. I got one of those, the Easter, the bunny with the gremlins riding on the back, the wild bunny thing. I've still got to paint that. I haven't done it. God damn it. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of models to paint. I think I've actually got one around that I really enjoyed painting, actually. I did a video in the... Yeah, here he is. I did the video in the style of, I tried to have a video in the style of, God damn it, what's that YouTuber called? And he's really good as well. He's just the most loveliest guy in the mini painting YouTube community. Oh. Flip. I've forgotten everything. What is his name? He's just like a really smiley guy. He's kind of got a long kind of usually he's got like long ginger hair, I think. And he paints models. When he paints the models, he'll just like roll dice to find out what kind of color and theme it's going to be. And I kind of took that idea and kind of rolled for every kind of element of a model. And then using those elements, I ended up painting this guy who came out really, really... Yeah, Goobertown Hobbies. Thank you very much. I was like, Hobgoblin Hobbies. No, that's not it. Green Goblin Hobbies. It's Goobertown Hobbies. Thank you. Oh, Jesus. At least I can describe the person and you get it. That's great. Oh, flipping heck. What was it, like 10 minutes ago I said I couldn't think of anything to talk about. I'm probably going to go silent. I've gone on like 50 tangents since then. But yeah, I really enjoyed painting this guy as kind of like a challenge, just like random dice rolls, deciding all of the color scheme. And it came out like this really, really vibrant thing. I think I like rolled white for this, it was maybe white for the skin, pink for the fur. I think it was like, green for the tongue and blue for the the teeth, yellow for the eyes, came up brown for the clothes, and black for the trim of the clothes. It was just kind of like an interesting mix of colors, and it came out, I think, pretty well. It was really fun to paint this guy, and I'm pretty proud with how he came out. It was very different from my Infinity stuff, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, anyway, enough of that one. I'll pop him over there to just have a look at. And I forgot what I'm going to be doing next. So I've done like the main clothing, I've done the armor, and I've done the Nmm Gold. I guess now I kind of get the faces complete. That might be my next step, I guess, where I'm going to just paint the hair and block the hair in properly. Now these guys are all Japanese, so we could go a little bit anime with some of the hair. Go with some like the crazy pinks, the crazy blues, perhaps, mixed in with just kind of like some basically like dark brown, black hair as well. That could work as well. Yeah, oh, I'm glad you kind of like that model. It was fun to paint him. It was so super. That was great. I really enjoyed it. Right. What? Okay, so this lady here, what color hair are we going to go for? Are we going to go for kind of like a black brown, kind of just a regular kind of style hair, natural kind of hair? Do we go a little bit anime and we go with the kind of the light blue turquoise kind of color? Or do we go with a kind of crazy pink or purple? Or perhaps even just like some bleached highlights with like kind of like getting the kind of the almost a platinum kind of look to it? What do we go for? I'll let you help me choose that, because I'm having that decision paralysis. I feel like she could do with like something that's just popping the color up a little bit, making her look good. What do you think? Could go with my kind of my pinks. We could go with yeah, maybe we can go with like getting like a little bit of the bright blue, kind of almost turquoisey kind of thing. Or I could try out my new kind of lemon yellow mixed in with some other colors to try and almost do a platinum type of effect. Ooh, I don't know. Or we just go with a brown maybe. I'm feeling like maybe it's just a basic color would be better. Could do a brown with maybe just a stripe in the hair. That could be kind of cool. I think let's get started with that. I'm gonna go with a very dark brown, and then we'll go with. I'm gonna try and see if I can put in like a stripe in the front of the hair there, and just kind of like tucking around the ears perhaps, just on the side that's kind of across the face. I'm gonna try that. Bright blue or yellow. Right, now I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of Nmm Gold on this rocket launcher here, so I feel like the yellow will clash with that. It'll be too similar of a color. So how about we go with that bright blue, and we'll just have a go at that, because I've done a few pinks on some models. Actually, I think I might have an example of a bright blue. Or is that a pink? No, that was a pink, wasn't it? Yeah, I did one with a pink, like this lady here. She had that pink hair. So I think it would be good for me to be able to do one with the with the blue hair. And the bright blue will be very different from the clothing she's wearing. So we're going to go with more of a turquoise with that. Now, with that, what we could probably start with is maybe a base of purple. And then we go up through the kind of the blue greens, up to a much lighter green. That's what I'm thinking. Let's give it a go. This is a complete experiment, so it might go completely wrong, but that's okay. We're here to learn. We're here to experiment and get better. All right, I'm running out of space on my wet palette, so I'm probably gonna like do this hair and call it a night. And go, yep, that's it. And then I can kind of throw away this sheet on my wet palette, and we can kind of go from there. So I'm going with a bit of the old Nagaroth Night, the purple that I have here. I got lots of this purple because I actually had 2 pots of it, and I put it all into 1 dropper bottle because dropper bottles are nice and big. And my music stopped, and part of me having the music in the background makes my voice louder, makes sure I'm speaking clearly, because if I've got music going in my ears, I have to, like, you know, that thing where people have that, they're like, hello, when they've got music in their headphones on, and they just start shouting at you because they think you can't hear, and it's just like, you dumbass. But it helps me to make sure that I'm actually speaking nice and clearly and loudly whilst talking to you. So yeah, let's just give this a go. We're going to just point this one a little bit of purple. We'll see if that acts as a good kind of shade to the lighter blue that we're going to go with. But yeah, actually, you know what? We could actually do a few... Oh no, I'm not going to do the streaks, am I? I'm actually going to go for the whole thing. But this one is actually kind of very well defined with the layers there. So I think it would probably look pretty good, actually, especially if we're going with this bright color. You'll be able to see the layers of the hair very clearly on this model. She's kind of got them very well defined in the sculpt. Not too fine that it's going to be lost. Like, you'll be able to see kind of like those kind of layers build in. Hopefully that's good. Okay, there we go. Hoi. All right. I feel like this stream has have me do the most crazy... I wouldn't say crazy, but I've done the most tangents possible. I feel like I should do like a highlight video where I just count the tangents of every time I kind of go off in a different direction with a conversation that I don't finish. Just see how many times I did actually just change subjects on the fly. Okay, so we've got that down. I'm being a bit slapdash at the moment. The danger is I'm going to go and destroy the face that I painted, which I was quite proud of. Although this is actually framing around the face really nicely at the moment, so it's actually making the features of her face actually stand out even more, which is actually really good, because I think this is probably the best one that I did in terms of skin tone out of these 4 models, which was cool. Right, let's go and get us the blue-green or the turquoise, and I'm gonna take the game color turquoise here, because this one's a little bit more satin than my blue-green. And because we're working with hair, and hair has that kind of natural shine because of the oils in it, hopefully the satin will reflect this a little bit more than a matte would. I'm completely bullshitting my way through that and explaining that in a way I think I've overheard other people say, and I don't know if I really believe it. I'm like, yeah, there's a really good reason for me to use this particular type of paint because it's got a satin effect to it. And no, it's just a nice blue-green. So yeah, we've got this nice bright blue there, but I'm going to mix in a little bit of the purple so we can kind of blend it in first. We can just start to see how that's going to change. So the purple kind of gives the cool color, kind of tones that down. It takes away some of the warmth. That's what we want for the shadow. So we're going to put that one in first. So let's try and keep some of the values that we've got with the purple there, so we can kind of see almost depth to the hair. So we're not gonna completely cover every single part of the hair there. We're just kind of keeping some of that purple in. Not much, but still there, so we can still kind of see some depth. At the moment, this is still like almost a shadow layer. It's just a tone up. So at the moment, it's just kind of like a regular blue, but we're going to go really bright with this eventually. but we're going to try and build that contrast in to make it look a little bit more poppy. Let's get those roots a little bit. Okay, I think that's probably just enough there. Okay, so we've got the blue, and actually that blue is now matching the clothes. We need to pop it right back up. So let's just take that straight up turquoise that we've got. Let's see how this will look. Okay. I'm probably actually not being careful enough with this. But we can kind of get away with it on the top because that's where you're going to get most shine. Keep some of that darker blue there on a little bit of the curve where we're not catching the light. So we can kind of see a bit of a transition. I haven't done it very well, to be honest. But we can start to see kind of like the contrast coming through there. It's still very kind of blue, but we want to go brighter. We want to go brighter. All right, thank you very much for joining Defective Dice. It was an absolute pleasure to have you just chatting on the side there. I am just, mwah, thank you so much. I cannot really fully get into enjoying talking unless I know someone's kind of at least interacting a little bit with me. And you've been an absolute pleasure to have in the chat. So thank you very much for joining us, and you have a lovely day. Thank you very much. Take care, Defective Dice. But yeah, I will be finishing up soon as well. So I'm just going to try and get this here. We're going to try and nail this hair. So now let's go a bit brighter. This is where we're going to see, hopefully, where it really shines through. At the top there, and also at the bottom. Okay, it's not quite exactly how I imagined, but we're just going to keep going and see what happens. But it's kind of, I guess it's defining the hair a little bit. But yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, it's getting a little bit shiny on the top there. Let's go with a little bit more of the ice yellow. We got the magic ice yellow just kind of being mixed in all the time. And we're going a little bit higher. It's almost going, it is actually going a little bit of a green. I'm going to go a little bit higher there. There we go. We can kind of see a transition that kind of helps us kind of sell the effect of the hair. Where it's going to be catching the light. So when you're looking at someone and the light, your natural light's coming from the top there, but you're looking that way, you're kind of looking at it where the angle is. So it's not going to be shining on the top like that. It's going to be shining off the side more. So you kind of get that edge. My head is the worst as an example because there's no hair on it. But that's kind of what I'm trying to go for here, where I'm kind of highlighting, not like the direct top of the head or where those roots are and things, but just slightly to the side of them. Now, I'm a bit worried about using too much of the ice yellow now, but to be honest, it's working out pretty well. So let's just try a little bit more, just see what happens. Okay. I wonder what will happen if we did a pure ice yellow on the top, just for that tiny highlight, because usually I would use like a white just to kind of dot the last kind of that intense streak of color that comes, intense streak of light that might shine on something. Usually just give that dot there and it kind of gives that impression. Now I'm wondering with the ice yellow that will still work without it reading as being a yellow. I'm going to give that a go. So we're going to go pure ice yellow here, and this is where I screw it up perhaps. We're going to see if this is truly a magic paint. And you know what? I think it's working. Oh my god. I think ice yellow is just like the magic paint. It's just like... it just makes everything look better. Oh my god, it worked. It actually does work. This is now my favorite paint, just by hands down my favorite paint. So okay, that's kind of the hair there done. Oh, I'm actually kind of liking that now. It's actually looking a bit like what I imagined. It's kind of cool. Yay! So how long have I actually been going for today? What time is it? It's 12:25. I guess I've been going for a couple of hours, haven't I? That's super, and we're kind of getting there. Fantastic. Yeah, I've enjoyed the stream today a lot. It's been an absolute blast. But I can feel my throat getting a little bit tired from the strange directions I've been going with conversation here. And I've kind of finished on a very happy note of how we've got that hair, this wonderful anime blue. I think that's going to really pop on the table. That'll be lovely. So thank you very, very much for joining me. So thank you very much, Unknown Girl. You've been an absolute riot to have a chat with on there. It's great. Yeah, I thought, I was like, oh, is this going to come out yellow? But I think it's got a certain translucency to it. But what is really good is like usually when I put like white onto these highlights, it does create the effect that I want, but for some reason it just seems to diminish the punch of it. This though, with the ice yellow, it's keeping that kind of anime high contrast style to it. And it's like when I've seen like YouTubers videos and I'm like, how do they get that crazy high contrast? I'm kind of like, for the first time in my time painting models, seeing it actually on my models, and I'm like, oh, this did it for me. So I'm going to be using ice yellow on just about everything that I paint, I think. So yeah, this was really cool. Lovely discovery moment. Okay, but yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to probably go and watch one more episode of C before I go to bed. And then that's me all done. So thank you very, 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 very much for joining. And I'll catch you next time. So probably for a stream, I'm going to be back on Thursday around the same time, and possibly on Saturday as well. Hopefully, oh, actually this Saturday, I don't know. I think I maybe got plans. But possibly some Saturday, I'll try and get on with Jeremy as well. And we'll have a stream together again, and that'll be great as well. So thank you very much. Take care. Enough rambling. Time to go. If I can find my controls. And yes, I can. Goodbye.